A man injects a virus into his temple and dissolves with a shark in the water, ultimately transforming into a hideous creature. It was originally the most powerful creature in Resident Evil, yet it unwittingly provoked the 5 least advisable individuals. What kind of experience made it do that? The story begins with the outbreak of a zombie virus in Raccoon City. At that time, Dylan was still a mercenary employed by the Umbrella Corporation. He was sent with his team to Raccoon City on a mission. Upon arriving at their destination, they find themselves tasked with protecting high-ranking company officials and government personnel from the evacuation of Raccoon City, while at the same time eliminating innocent civilians who try to break through the barrier. The team was unaware that they were facing terrifying zombies. In the end, the entire squad, except for Dylan and the captain, became infected. Thinking of requesting support from their superiors, they received a chilling response: eliminate all infected individuals, even if they were their own teammates, or there would be no support. As they witnessed their comrades mutate one by one, the captain, in desperation, aimed his gun at his closest comrades. Unexpectedly, the captain was bitten by a fellow soldier who had turned into a zombie, and Dylan was forced to put an end to him. The hellish experience in Raccoon City gradually twisted Dylan's mind, shattering his once unwavering beliefs. This world was not meant to be like this. There was no fairness or justice to be found. Dylan decided on revenge, harboring a wicked notion of using the virus to cleanse the world and start anew. Especially those in power who could arbitrarily control the lives of ordinary people, they must pay a gruesome price. Time comes to San Francisco in 2015. The protagonist, Leon, received a critical mission to rescue Dr. Antonio, who had been abducted by unidentified armed individuals. Because Dr. Antonio had been involved in classified military research, it was imperative to prevent him from falling into the wrong hands, as the consequences would be dire. Leon saw the target vehicle and immediately went after it. However, just as Leon was about to open fire, a motorcycle-riding woman suddenly blocked his path. There, in a fierce chase on the motorway, Leon managed to shoot out the woman's tire, but she cleverly used a nearby truck to perform an unexpected aerial car trick. She landed on the back of Leon's vehicle and swiftly moved to the front, using her high heels to slam on the brakes. Leon fell to the ground in a heap, and when he got up, he realized that both the biker woman and the doctor had left. It wasn't until the woman took off her helmet that Leon realized she was the biochemically modified Maria. During a previous mission in New York, Leon had killed Maria's father. It appeared that Maria was now seeking revenge. Meanwhile, Claire discovered a dead killer whale with massive bite marks on the beach. The bite marks were too large to have been inflicted by any currently known species. Claire was immediately overcome by a sense of foreboding. On the other side, Jill was investigating a bioweapon attack incident. While searching for survivors, a zombie suddenly lunged at Jill. Jill was accidentally pounced on by the zombie. She stomped on the wall and fell down the ground floor together with the zombie. In mid-air, Jill swiftly adjusted her position and used the zombie's body as a cushion to land safely. Once on her feet, Jill quickly regained her composure and decisively eliminated the zombie with her firearm. Similar bioterror attacks had occurred more than a dozen times recently. Strangely, Rebecca's tests revealed no bite marks on the zombies' bodies, and the bitten individual showed no signs of infection. This indicated that the virus was not being transmitted through saliva, but they all have pinholes in their bodies, so it could be a brand new T-virus. Chris emphasized the need to swiftly apprehend the mastermind behind these attacks. The killer whale carcass that Claire had discovered also tested positive for this new T-virus. Clearly, both incidents were the work of the same individual. After an in-depth investigation into the infected individuals' backgrounds, Rebecca identified a common factor: they had all recently visited Alcatraz Island. Coincidentally, the killer whale habitat was near Alcatraz Island. All the clues pointed to the same location. Thus, Chris, accompanied by Claire and Jill, immediately set sail to investigate. Just in case, Rebecca stayed at the lab to make the vaccine. However, as soon as Chris and the others arrived on the island, they were discovered by the mastermind, none other than Dylan, a former Umbrella Corporation mercenary. He's also the one who took Dr. Antonio in order to use him to develop the latest biochemical weapon. Upon seeing their arrival, Dylan wasted no time in activating the bioweapon.
It's time we debuted our...
Alcatraz Island was once a prison but had been transformed into a tourist attraction, bustling with visitors. Just as they were observing their surroundings, a zombie suddenly emerged from the crowd and attacked the nearby tourists. Chris rushes forward to take care of the zombie. However, to their astonishment, the tourists started mutating without warning, plunging the scene into chaos. They fought off the zombies while ushering the tourists into cells for protection, but strangely, one of the survivors rescued by Claire was a normal person 1 second, and then mutated in a cell full of survivors the next. At this moment, Jill sees a police officer being entangled by zombies and falling to the next floor. Jill rushed to provide aid, only for the officer to mutate as well. She had no choice but to eliminate him. Soon, all the survivors in the prison began to mutate. Those who hadn't mutated were devoured by the zombies. After Chris and the siblings had cleared the area of zombies, they realized that the phone lines and radios were malfunctioning. Dylan must have disrupted the signals. Suddenly, there was movement in a nearby cabinet. Chris cautiously opened it and discovered Dr. Antonio, who had managed to escape. With no other choice, they continued their investigation with Dr. Antonio in tow. But on the way, they encountered zombies. The siblings managed to kill the zombies. Claire was bitten by something on her neck. Chris went to check on her and was bitten by an unidentified creature as well. They covered their wounds in pain. Dr. Antonio panicked and fled, but he was quickly intercepted by Maria. Meanwhile, Jill decided to press on alone into the depths of the sewer. Rather than reuniting with Chris and Claire, Jill met Leon, who had also come to investigate. No sooner had they exchanged greetings than they were confronted by amphibious lickers. Although these lickers they can swim in water, their attack and defense are not in the same league as regular lickers, and a single headshot can kill them. Leon effortlessly dispatched a dozen lickers by detonating a gasoline barrel. They stumbled upon a secret passage that unexpectedly led them to Dylan's lair. Inside a massive armory, they found an array of weapons. However, the control room revealed no sign of Dylan. The screen displayed that this was Dylan's bioweapon production laboratory. They had developed a bioengineered unmanned drone resembling mosquitoes. The room they had passed through was the incubation chamber, where the unidentified creatures in the water tanks were incubators. There are millions of bioengineered drones in every incubator. Antonio happened to be an expert in this field, which explained why Dylan had abducted him. Jill finally understood why the tourists had suddenly mutated. It was Dylan controlling the bioengineered drones to infect them. After deliberation, they decided to destroy the laboratory first and then capture the mastermind, Dylan. However, at that moment, Dylan's voice blared through the speakers. He informed them to hurry to the first-floor prison, revealing that Chris, Claire, and Dr. Antonio had been captured. They arrived to find Chris and Claire in a cell with Dr. Antonio. Right at that moment, Dylan also emerged on the second floor. Dylan tells them that Chris and Claire have been attacked by a bio-drone and will soon be turned into zombies. Dylan also quietly attacked Leon with drones that he could control to infect anyone he wanted. The sheer number of drones he possessed could turn over half of the Earth's population into zombies. And after today, Dylan's drones will be all over the world. Dylan's evil plan involved using the virus to plunge the world into chaos. Dylan purposely left Jill behind to make her experience what he had gone through, forcing her to shoot at her close companions. And Rebecca in the lab couldn't reach Chris and the others. Rebecca figured they were probably in trouble. She hastily prepared the vaccine and, accompanied by an armed squad, headed to Alcatraz Island. However, upon their arrival on the island, they were ambushed by mutated sharks. In order to cover Rebecca's way to the island, the armed team was wiped out. At this point, Claire and Chris were already feeling unwell, but Jill refrained from pulling the trigger. A furious Dylan takes a shot at Dr. Antonio. Maria also prepared to eliminate Jill. In a moment of crisis, Leon retrieved a flash grenade from his person and used it to aid Jill's escape. However, Dylan wasn't in a hurry to chase Jill, as his plan was already in motion. Countless drones will soon be spread across the globe. As for Leon, they'll be zombies in a few minutes, but Dylan doesn't know that. In a bid to save his own life, Dr. Antonio had discreetly altered the drone system's back-end program and concealed it within a pen, which he handed over to Claire before passing away. Jill, who managed to escape, coincidentally encountered Rebecca, who had arrived to offer support. After briefing each other, they split up and took immediate action. Jill went to the armory to look for Dylan. Rebecca brought the vaccine to the prison to inject the infected Leon and the others. The first to recover, Leon proceeded alone to the control room, only to cross paths with an enraged Maria. Maria wants to avenge her father's death by killing Leon herself. Their ensuing battle was nothing short of spectacular. Maria, enhanced and transformed, exhibited astonishing combat prowess. Leon found himself overpowered, with Maria literally riding him like a conqueror. Leon slams Maria onto the table, but he can't get rid of her, and Maria's high heel stomps on his face. Leon manages to break free, but Maria kicks him out again. However, This level of damage is completely inconsequential for Leon. Maria underestimated Leon's fighting ability and uncanny luck. He delivered a retaliatory kick that sent Maria flying, impaling her body on a protruding metal pipe. Maria's life came to a shocking end, her body skewered by the pipe behind her. At this moment, Jill also found Dylan in the armory, but Dylan didn't panic when he found out that everyone had been cured by Rebecca's vaccine. Because Dylan was prepared, a mutant shark appeared in the water, while Jill was confused. In a surprising move, Dylan applied a virus to his own head. He then plunged into the water, where he was consumed by the mutated shark. The 5 main characters have just gathered together when they see a giant scary monster coming out of the water. Apparently, Dylan and the shark had completed their final fusion.
What the hell is that?
Dylan used the virus to fuse with a bioweapon.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Despite the creature's powerful tail attack, the protagonists managed to evade its strikes. Then each of them grabbed their weapons and started to fight back against the monster, but the monster's skin is so thick that bullets and rockets can't break its defense. It seems that they won't be able to handle it in a short period of time. Due to the time constraints, Leon instructs Claire and Rebecca to go and stop the drones, while the 3 of them stay here to battle the monsters. Claire and Rebecca swiftly made their way to the control room, utilizing the program Antonio had given them to successfully neutralize the drones, but the battle outside is still fierce. Under the fierce attack of the monsters, the 3 of them have suffered a lot. At this moment, Jill, who was knocked away by the monsters, accidentally found a plasma rifle, but because of its short range and the need to store power, it requires the cooperation of Chris and Leon. Chris and Leon knew what to do and immediately drove the machine car to attract the attention of the monsters, giving Jill time to build up her power. Soon the plasma rifle was ready.
Time to light you up!
With one shot, the monster fell to the ground instantly. However, just when they thought they had taken care of the monster stood up once more. Jill wanted to fire the plasma rifle again, but the monster slapped her away. Seeing the monster approaching step by step, the 3 of them could not retreat any further, but at that moment, the monster suddenly stopped attacking and turned its head to leave the area. It turns out that Rebecca manipulated the drones to attack the monsters, causing a viral overload in their bodies and triggering an adverse reaction. Claire and Rebecca quickly closed a steel door, preventing the creature's escape into the ocean. Meanwhile, the 3 people outside are also trying to stop the monster. Jill used a flare to divert its attention. The angry monster flung a tail at her, and Jill could only jump into the water, with the monster in hot pursuit. As the creature lunged at Jill, she attempted to throw a bomb, but the monster was too fast and bit Jill's backpack and dragged her away. Jill managed to break free and force the bomb into the creature's mouth. Meanwhile, Leon and Chris had assembled a colossal cannon. Just as the monster is about to escape, a shell hits the steel door's chains with pinpoint accuracy. The hundreds of tons of steel door fell in a flash and hit the monster's head. At the same time, the bomb exploded, blowing the creature into pieces. Ultimately, the 5 main characters once again save the world.